Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Next Level Refs. We previously advised that we'd bring on some special guests to give a different perspective on refereeing. Today, we welcome former coach and all-round great guy, Phil Moss. For those that you don't know, Phil, he was an assistant coach under Graham Arnold for the Olyroos, Central Coast Mariners, and Sydney FC. He was also head coach of the Mariners for a period and also coached Manly United in the New South Wales NPL. He was also appointed the inaugural and founding president of Football Coaches Australia, where he served for 6 years. And currently, Phil is the executive leadership coach of National Australia Bank, an expert commentator on Network 10, and an expert football analyst on the Big Sports Breakfast radio show. So, welcome to Next Level Refs, Mossy.
Thank you, Strebre. I don't know about the special part, but I'm definitely privileged to be a guest. So thanks for having me on.
No problem. Look, let's get straight into it. I guess referees and coaches is a bit of a love-hate relationship. Why do you think communication's so important between refs and coaches?
I think quite simply it builds rapport. And I vividly remember, Strebre, you refereeing me when I was still sort of playing and coaching down at Manly United in the NPL, and we'd have some banter on the field. You'd always be open with your communication if I didn't agree with a decision, which not many players do when it goes against them. But there was always a bit of banter out there, and I just felt the rapport was really important, and I think that helps you regulate your emotions as a player and a coach when you know there's an open line of communication with referees. And the best referees, and if I go way back to the old National Soccer League, Eddie Lenny, is someone who still sticks in my mind as a referee that I loved sharing a field with, because you just knew there was going to be some banter, open communication. We wouldn't always agree with each other, but it was all about the game, and it was good fun.
No, that's great, mate. Look, talk us through some of the emotions, I guess, that coaches go throughout the game, and how that impacts, referees fundamentally.
Yeah, well, it's so different to playing, because, as a player, your emotions, you can run them out of your system if you like. And, I was a defender, and no shame in saying I made a career out of tackling rather than actually playing. But you got to play to your strengths, but you could run your emotion through your veins that way. But as a coach, it's very different. You've got all this pent up emotion. There's a lot of things, running through your veins, running through your mind. You've got your head, your heart, and your gut. When something goes against you, sometimes it can boil to the top. As much as we like to try and regulate our emotions, it is tough. And, I've got no shame in saying there's moments I look back on as a coach and think, oh, could I handle that better? But I'm big enough to say I look in that mirror that gives me a true reflection rather than a rose-coloured mirror. And so there are certain situations I could have handled better.
Yeah, I remember, mate, that grand final against Brisbane Roar, when you and Arnie in extra time were probably right in my face every 15 seconds telling me how long to go. I think that's even on footage. So, no, it's...
Thanks for bringing that one up, Strebre.
Yeah,
I didn't think this call would go without a mention of that one. But yeah, I don't know what you think as a coach, because it's not like you can make your clock go any quicker as a fourth official. But for some reason, we think you can. But yeah, good memories. Although that was a surreal one.
No, good on you, mate. Look, in your opinion, what are the key qualities you think that make up a good referee?
Look, I really think what we mentioned, obviously communication and just that open mindset to to having a bit of banter and communicating with you can't communicate with all players, but certainly a bit of commentary on the run always helps. And you can't stop and have a discussion over every decision as well. I totally get that, but the referees who can communicate are open-minded to it, and certainly don't have that body language that is very standoffish with players and coaches, because I think that can, when emotions are running high, that can be a real antagonistic sort of trait, but also an understanding of the game. So and I sat with the referees during a couple of A-League games when VAR first came in, and I was absolutely amazed at the amount of research and analysis that goes on behind the scenes that we coaches and players wouldn't have a clue about. So I think that opening those lines of communication, letting me sit with the referees. I think it was Ben Williams at the time. I sat up in the grandstand at Jubilee Oval watching a Sydney game, and hearing the VAR and the communication. So that just opened my eyes to a completely different world. But yeah, understanding the flow of a game, understanding where you need to be on the pitch, to, depending on how a team plays, all those sort of things make a huge difference.
Well, that was my next question, mate. So you already touched on it about that experience. When I was head of referees with Football Australia Renewal, with the head of the Coaches Association. Yeah, Ben Williams was head of the Professional Referees Association. We got together there at Jubilee in that A-League game, and what did you get out of that experience? I mean, I know we've already touched on it, but it was really, Kurt Ams was the referee, and then there was that VAR check, and and there was a straight red card. You got to hear and what emotions referees go through in the game, and the impact of that. What did you get out of that experience?
Sitting with you and Ben was a massive part of it, and credit to you at the time, Strebre. You opened the door for someone like myself to come and experience it like that. I wish I'd had that opportunity, when I was coaching or before I started coaching in the A-League, because it certainly changes your perspective. And then hearing the communication between the referees. I mean, you don't really look at them as a coach on game day as a team. It's more like you've got a referee, you've got two assistant referees, you've got a fourth official and a reserve in case something happens. But you don't really look at them as a team. But hearing them communicate and what goes on sort of behind the scenes was a real eye-opener and a great experience. And it's something that I've been able to take away and share with other coaches, and get them to maybe knock on the referee's door, not on game day, but on the referee's door, to say, can I have a similar experience? Because it'd be great to see what happens behind the scenes to get a greater understanding.
And is this something that you would like to see implemented to improve relationships between refs and coaches, these types of initiatives?
Yeah, look, Strebre, it's something you and I have spoken about many times on the phone. It takes, administrators, coaches, players, fans, media, to put professional football on a pitch. And I think the more we can work together, particularly coaches and referees and players, because, ultimately they're the ones in the fishbowl on game day. I think anything we can do to improve relations, improve understanding of each other, and the roles we play on game day, to bring it to life for the fans, is a step in the right direction.
And that's great, mate. And finally, I know, players as referees, we spoke about that match preparation that we do in regards to how teams set up and play and certain players. And do coaches and I guess coach their players or talk to their players about referees? Does that come into play as part of your match prep?
Yeah, it certainly does. There's different referees. It's like analysing anything. You analyse the opposition. Your opposition coaches, how they, you try and get inside their head and how they think. And it's no different with referees. If a referee's, if you know that, they've got certain thresholds with regards tackling or talking to them or whatever it might be, you're certainly filling your players with all the information that they need to go out there and load the dice in your favour of getting the result ultimately. So you'd be crazy not to look at past performances of referees, what they're known for, what they let go. And I'm not saying anything other than what's within the laws of the game. But certainly any edge you can get in professional football counts in your favour.
Absolutely. So there you have it, everyone, a coach's perspective on refereeing. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you on the next time we're putting on another episode on Next Level Refs. Thank you, and thank you, Mossy, for joining us.
My pleasure, mate.
Take care.